Today we will discuss how to make a fence from corrugated metal on a concrete foundation. Currently, our fence is made from regular sheet metal with cutouts. It is installed on posts that are not concreted but backfilled, and there is no foundation. We need to create a foundation by concreting the posts and install a frame for attaching the corrugated metal. First of all, it is necessary to start dismantling the old fence with the posts. In the next step, the posts from the old fence need to be dismantled. They are not concreted, so it won't be too difficult. The remaining holes from the posts can be filled in. There are steel bricks inside, but we won't remove them because the spacing for the new post will be different. And these stones won't bother us. In the ground. In the next step, it is necessary to mark the future location of the foundation. The marking should be strictly along the line of all the fences. And this needs to be done with a regular cord. The future foundation for the fence will have a width equal to the width of a shovel and a depth of 1 shovel blade. The height will be 10 centimeters above ground level. Along this strip will be the future foundation and the facade of the fence made of corrugated metal. Now we dig a trench, the width of a shovel, and we begin to drill holes for securing the posts. Here, a small trench for the fence foundation is ready. In the next step, using a special drill with a diameter of 20 centimeters, we will make small holes for the posts. The length of the post is 3 meters. 2 meters will be above ground, plus the foundation height of 10 centimeters. In total, the posts need to be embedded 90 centimeters deep. The total size of the fence will be 7 meters. We divide it into 3 parts to determine the distance between the posts. In our case, the distance will be 2 meters 25 centimeters. We drill strictly vertically to avoid any tilting of the post. The ground here is soft because there was no concrete, making it easier to work. Now the holes are ready, we will start concreting the posts. The posts are size 60 by 60 millimeters and must be deeply embedded in the ground. We will prepare the concrete mix using a concrete mixer. The concrete grade will be M300 and will have a proportion of 1 part cement, part sand, part gravel. First we pour in half of the water portion. Then we add the sand. Then the cement. Half a bucket. And parts of crushed stone. The last part of water is the second. And the last part of crushed stone. Now we can mix. Mix for 3 minutes and then we can pour the posts. We set it strictly level. On one side and the other. In the next step, we'll start pouring the foundation, hotkus, and reinforcing it with rebar. The depth of the posts in the hole is 90 centimeters. They have already been concreted. The holes were drilled with a 20 centimeter diameter auger. First, you need to make a markup. Location of the foundation with a buffer of about 5 cm on each side of the post. The size of the post I have is 6 by 6 cm. The fence will be 2 meters high, including the height of the gate and doors. To reinforce the foundation of the fence, I will use an 8 mm steel rod. The height of the foundation will be 10 centimeters. I stretched the string at this height to control the height and straightness of 10 centimeters. On both sides along the edges of the future trench, we lay down 4 metal profiles to reinforce all the corners. First we weld the crossbars to the posts and then weld the rebar along the entire length of the fence. If you don't have anywhere to anchor the rebar, you can drive stakes into the ground and weld the rebar to them. In the next step, we need to tie these 4 pieces of rebar together. I will use small pieces of the same rebar. You can twist them together, but I will use welding. They need to be fastened together with a distance of 50 centimeters between each other. In the end, I managed to create such a nice reinforcement. The tie goes along all 4 guides. And that will be it. A very solid foundation. In the next stage, it is necessary to make a good formwork in order to pour the foundation with concrete. To create the formwork, I will use old chipboard panels and old plastic window sills. We install a chipboard panel on one side and on the other. With a plastic windowsill. We fasten them together with small wooden slats. This is how the framework turned out, and we can proceed to pour it with concrete mix. To fix the framework at the bottom, I will add a bit of soil to provide support so that the framework does not shift during pouring. This amount of soil will be quite sufficient to secure the formwork. For pouring the foundation, I will use M300 grade concrete mix. The proportion should be 1 part cement, part sand, parts gravel. First, pour half of the water, then sand, then gravel, then cement, and the next half of the water. I use Portland, cement, grade 500, and we begin mixing. The foundation is poured and leveled. Now we just have to wait for it to set. Rain is expected tomorrow, so we'll cover it with plastic. If you're doing this in the summer, you need to moisten it every day to prevent cracking. The distance from all the posts and this cord to the foundation is the same. This means the future fence will be at an equal distance. From the foundation along the entire length. A little water has come out. From the concrete, this is good, because the surface self-levels, preventing the formation of any bumps and depressions. Here the concrete has set and the water has evaporated. In the next stage, it is necessary to treat it with a rust converter. These posts, to prevent them from rusting further and to create a protective layer. Mine has zinc and does not require rinsing. Seven days have passed, and now the formwork of the foundation can be dismantled. For ease of dismantling, I will use a screwdriver. And carefully remove the boards from the framework. This is the kind of foundation we got for the fence. There are no chips and there are no empty spaces on the sides. Everything is filled with concrete. Now it is necessary to return the soil that we removed for the foundation back to its place. In the end, we got such a nice looking foundation for the corrugated fence. The foundation for the fence is ready, and now we will proceed with installing the load-bearing profiles. First of all, it is necessary to level the height of all the posts strictly horizontally. To do this, we will stretch a string from one end post to the other end post and use it to mark the horizontal line, where we will cut with an angle grinder. And we cut along this line, using an angle grinder and a metal cutting disc. The next step, it is necessary to seal the pipes to prevent water from getting inside. For this I will use these metal plates. You can use plastic caps. These are the nice caps we ended up with. Now water will not get into the profile. In the next step, we fix the profile horizontally along the entire length of the fence using clamps and weld it to the posts. Fastening horizontal profiles. It is necessary to consider the thickness of the corrugated sheet and make a slight recess for this thickness. The wave height of my corrugated sheet is 7. The horizontal profile needs to be recessed by the same distance. We weld the profile to all the posts. Now the framework for the fence is ready. The excess wood and welds have been cleaned up for a tight fit of the corrugated sheet, and you can start painting the entire structure. I will be painting with a black 3-component paint. The paint contains a rust converter, so there is no need to pre-treat the rusty surface. In the next step, we will start cladding the fence structure with profiled sheets. The profiled sheeting has the same configuration as the gates and the end of the carport. The wave height is 7 mm, and that will be enough for a solid, sturdy structure. Using a level and a pencil, you need to mark the height for the gates and the wicket. This line will serve as a mark for the top of the fence. The black paint on the battens has already dried. It doesn't come off on your fingers. It's been 2 days and it's completely dry now. We lean the profiled sheeting against the battens and screw it in place with self-tapping screws. The profiled sheeting is strictly vertical. For the convenience of securing the profiled sheeting to the battens and leveling it, I will use these wooden spacers. Now we set the sheet strictly vertical. Using a level, we check and screw it in place, marking the location of the battens on it. For now, we'll attach it through 2 waves, leaving the outer 2 waves untouched because the second sheet will overlap here. After the initial fastening, we remove the lower spacers and continue securing the next sheets, profiled sheeting. already dark and the fence is installed. Now we need to screw one screw into each wave of the fence in 3 rows so that it doesn't move or rattle. I'm stretching it. I place a screw between the 2 side screws on both sides of the fence. And I'm screwing in the screws strictly horizontally along this string. Here are the corrugated sheets installed on the fence. The last sheet is made from 2 waves because we were a bit short, so we added a piece that fits snugly with the previous sheet. The cut of the corrugated sheet is processed with a milling cutter so that there is no metal shavings, and we will lightly process it later during the production of the zinc coating. Now we just need to finish the process and hang the mailbox for the complete look. At the back of the mailbox there are 2 holes that match the spacing between the waves of the corrugated metal. I will unscrew 2 neighboring screws that hold the corrugated metal, and I will attach the mailbox to them. Here is the mailbox hung in its place and the work on creating a prof. The installation of the corrugated metal fence is complete.